Best line from Batman was, "This town needs an enema." Who said that?
I think nobody ever said that, Henry. Why are you making that up? Like, seriously, you're making up lines along the way?
Batman, the Joker said, "This town needs an enema." Quote, Google it.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
For some reason, that line sounds like something that Jim Carrey would say in a very wacky way. Like, this line needs an enema.
Well, I
make some weird face.
Every gentleman over 30 should get an enema.
Now, I know sticking a tube up your butt freaks some people out, but honestly, get over it because this is so good for your health.
As a matter of fact, I have my special guest with me. Do you want to meet him?
Not really, but go ahead.
Yeah, you have no choice, Henry, and the rest of you here have no choice. But here we go. I'm going to bring on our special guest, and he's going to wow all of you. I'm that guest from the other universe. And I had to tolerate that loser Suraj talking and doing, I don't know what's an enema. Like, come on.
Oh, is it really you, Batman?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely me. And all I want to say is, I am not the podcaster you deserve, but the one you definitely need. Not Suraj. Turn your camera a little, please.
Well, wouldn't that trigger you?
Oh, no. You. Why? Why would you keep him there? Why would you idolize him? Huh?
This is a symbol of the city.
आज के इस वीडियो में मैं बॉलीवुड की इस फाइनेंशियल थ्रिलर फिल्म का रिलीज टाइम इसके लिए सबसे बड़ा नेगेटिव पॉइंट बनकर आया, जहां 2020 की सबसे बेस्ट है संदीप और पिंकी फरार। ये ब्लैक कॉमेडी थ्रिलर फिल्म बिग डायरेक्टेड ये थ्रिलर फिल्म उतनी भी बुरी नहीं है। अजीब दास्तान 4 शॉर्ट फिल्म से मिलकर बनी ये एंथोलॉजी फिल्म व्यूअर्स को बहुत कुछ ऑफर करने की कोशिश करती नजर आती है। कड़वी भी है। कागज ये रियल इवेंट्स पर बेस्ड एक ब्यूटीफुल बायोग्राफिकल ड्रामा फिल्म है जिसमें हिंदी सिनेमा के फाइनेस्ट एक्टर्स में से एक। ये फिल्म यूपी के एक छोटे से गांव के किसान लाल बिहारी
This is like the best movies of Bollywood. Why is it 6.9 and 7? Because like last time I checked, there's not like an 8.0 or a 9 or a 10 movie though. Like why is this in the list though? Like are there that many bad Bollywood movies that like a 6.9 gets in the top 10?
But if you go to the regional cinema, like Bollywood is mainly in Hindi language. Like we have regional cinema because India has like 23 official languages. So if you look at some of the South Indian movies, like the languages like Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, if you check out their movies, they have a higher rating. And they're nowadays much more appreciated than the typical Bollywood movie because they have a story and interesting characters and not showing off their bodies that much.
I mean, there's this one case in point for Malaysia. We have a superhero. We tried to do a superhero movie called The Chicap Man. And Chicap Man, when translated into English, is called the Gecko Man. So we were like, why? Of all the things in the world, you choose a gecko that just comes into the room and just, that's about it. And that is his signature. That is his signature move when he comes into a scene. You know, kind of stuff. Yeah. And again, he has this, how he get into this superpower is because he have this cup of radioactive coffee, you know, something like that.
Cup of radioactive coffee. Wow.
Yeah.
One day he's asked to conduct an experiment on Chicha.
Chicha?
Ever since that fateful day, Hyrie possessed amazing powers. Gecko Man.
What's his superpower?
No, his superpower is just poking around, moving around, and able to like walk on the wall. And then,
Walk on walls, okay.
Yeah, and then maybe flirt, you know, maybe like his tongue come out and then he start flirting, you know, like it's quite silly, which is why Malaysian we don't really like not too keen to watch the Malay movies. But I think if, let's say, the improvement is happening, I noticed that some of the independent productions, like they're actually bringing the standard of Malay movies and Malay dramas to the next level. So I think there's some hope in that lah, compared to like just that gecko hero, you know. Yeah.
Like we in India have a superhero called Krish. Yes, and the funny thing is, his ability is being able to like take long leaps in the air and across the hall, and they kept promoting it as a superhero movie, but in the whole movie, the only saving that he does is trying to save his long lost dad, who was kidnapped by some mad scientist. And you're like, that's not superhero. You have to save the public, not just your dad.
Catwoman doesn't have, what does she do?
Oh, true. She doesn't save anyone.
No, she have a lot of cats in the house.
Just has a lot of cats and flirts with Batman.
And does burglary.
Catwoman.
If burglary is a heroic thing, then yeah, that's Catwoman.
Warrants out for your arrest.
I'm popular. This little kitten sauntered into the lair of the wrong big cat.
No!
Stop her! I thought this was supposed to be a party. Darling, I love your costume.
I don't watch a lot of international movies, but I've seen international TV series. I got hooked on them with, it started with Lupin. I think that it was really, really popular. And I felt like that story was just transcendental. Like it could go anywhere and be true.
I found something, it's incredible. A classic adventure of Arsène Lupin by Maurice Dupin. Also the method, the panache, the style.
Want to tell me what you did last night?
Wasn't nothing much.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ah!
Better, yeah?
Thank you.
I watched Money Heist, and I still, you know, especially season 1 and 2, again, like it was all about the characters and the storyline, and it was excellent. Like I would say it was much better than a lot of American heist films. I mean, you know, like drew me in. Like there was one scene that I literally stood up and clapped because I just was overwhelmed with how good it was, because it wasn't just about the heist, it was about the intelligence. And, you know, the most recent series that I watched is a German series. It was called Dark, and it was about time travel and just murdering children.
Staat ist nichts normal und wir alle sind ein Teil davon. Sondern wann?
The quality of the story was so good. Like it was a lot more rich than what we get now with American, like wrap it up and package it out, in my opinion.
In the East versus West, are there different ways that we make films that that make you an actor in a different way?
See, there are a few differences, and they are very, very important differences. Like sometimes in our industry, we are the center of the story is the image of the star, and all the departments serve that image. All the characters around him serve that image. The films which I do in Hollywood, there the center is the story, the power of the story. You can take anybody, from Tom Hanks to everybody, all the big stars, they are serving the purpose of the story. And people bringing their own reflection, their own experience of their life to enhance that story. Not about serving a particular image. At one point of time, I started my career as an actor because I was looking for acknowledgement. First, I was looking for acknowledgement from my mother. When I didn't get it, I started looking, outside of my, surroundings. And that somehow manifested into, becoming an actor that, I thought actor, basically it was for acknowledgement. And then through, after drama school and, after many years, I came to know this is not acknowledgement. It is an experience, which you share with the audience, and that becomes your, wealth. That is the most important thing. When you do a story, you pour in your life and you make that thing, that story an experience for the audience, and that becomes an experience for the audience. And that sharing is something which is so precious, you cannot match that kind of thing.
Over here in India, it has a lot to do with the star power and the image that various actors have. Like one actor may be all macho, masculine types. Then there'll be a certain actor who is, typecast for comedy, rom-coms, and you may never see them in action or thriller roles. So that often ends up being the case. And then we don't see that versatility as a result.
Fast and the Furious is doing episode number 10.
Oh my God.
That doesn't seem to go away. It's the same thing. It's like, how fast can I drive this car? How bald can The Rock be?
How bald can The Rock or Vin Diesel? How much deeper can his voice go?
There's not a lot of range happening.
It's kind of like watching Liam Neeson as well. Like, I love Liam Neeson. He's always fun and thrilling, but invariably, if you watch his movies, there's that theme where he has emotional, mental health issues, or his kid is dead or kidnapped, or he's a divorcee or on the verge of divorce. And I'm like, yeah, I see a pattern there.
If you're looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise started off at the same time. And now if you see them, Val Kilmer is like too old and Tom Cruise is like still young as, he's still young. He looks young. But when it comes to actresses, when they grow older, maybe because of pregnancy and all of that, their looks change. And people then, when they make a comeback to the industry, they call it the second act.
I heard you say that women who got pregnant age badly.
Yes, and I will say that. And it's not a cancelable opinion. It's just raw facts. I'm not saying it's always true, because I've seen other, but unless you afford Botox, unless you afford plastic surgery, you'll never retain those qualities. Like, it's evident. I've seen a lot of actresses, post-pregnancy, everything changes. Like, it's not only actresses, but women in general, the way they look at things changes. That's why a lot of actresses don't come back to making films. That's I've done my research, because I'm the cancel cop. I'm the all-knowing cancel cop. I've done my research, and every actress, after they gave birth to a child, and most of them who didn't come back to filmmaking stayed this particular reason. It's that pregnancy and the changes their body had does not make them suitable for the filmmaker's idea, for the filmmaker's vision.
Yeah, I don't think in America, in the
Korea,
US.
no.
In America, there is a ageism. I know that it seems like men get a pass in their 50s as an actor. Women in their 50s, there's like, we're going to go with somebody younger. That's that happens.
Yes, exactly. And see, the roles, the older, they're brilliant actresses, but the roles they get is like the role of the mother who 20 years ago was paired opposite to the actor.
I think this one really depends on how you take care of yourself as an actor, that kind of stuff. Because I think in Korea, it's shocking. Like there's this woman called actress called Trey Ji-woo. She's 47 years old this year, have kid and everything, but she looks like as though she just started acting, you know, and she is a queen of melodrama in Korea. Yeah, so I'm also shocked. I think it really depends on how the actor take care of themselves. And on the other hand, I can see male comedians in Malaysia look terrible even in their 20s and 30s. I'm like, what the heck? You know, we have some comics who are like women, 50 years old and all, but still look good, you know, and awesome, you know. And the man is like belly, you know, man boob, you know, like what's happening? You know, we were like, they are only a barely a few years older than me, but they look more like my parent, you know. Yeah, when I'm hanging out with them. It's like, oh, send your underage kid home, you know. Then they were like, no, I'm younger than her, you know. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I'd like
cancel
to
the
be
cousin.
I'd like to play Tom Cruise's mom. I'd be the first Asian family that adopted a white kid.
Life experience plays a role in the type of roles that you get as you get older. I'll name the exception. You know, Halle Berry. They're gonna play her as a sex symbol no matter what. J-Lo is like 50 something, and she was in a stripper movie, you know, and stripping on at the Super Bowl, and everybody was okay with it. Now Viola Davis and Liam Neeson did their little cop, you know, caper movie, and I was, you know, I admit I was uncomfortable seeing their love scene. I see Viola Davis as a very strong female character, and she can be beautiful and sexy, but like to see her getting her titties cupped by Liam Neeson, it felt like watching my uncle and auntie have sex. And for me, it wasn't believable. And I was just like, Viola, this is not you. Like, your titty knows this is not you. And so, depending on the situation, like you see a character as the audience a certain way, and then you see them flip and be soft and feminine, and it kind of just makes you go like, something ain't right with this scene, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, becoming a parent, living through death of your friends, getting into those 50 age experiences, you know, a lot of times, like, it will make me think you were slightly mentally ill if you were still trying to play a 20-something-year-old role. Because in my opinion, there's a larger range of a character for the older characters.
Well, you know what? I could never buy Jack Nicholson in any sex scene. With all these younger women, and even like the things he says, I'm like going, oh.
Yeah, gross.
And I see women who are attracted to him, and I'm going, he treats his women in the movie like crap, and they go, oh, I'm going, okay, that's your gig.
Good
That's your
acting.
gig. But
Good
it's like,
acting.
ooh.
You want the money.
That's called daddy issues. I do think that Tom Cruise can play 20 because he's a seaman.
21 Jump Street, where they're all like old adults playing high school students.
I fell asleep with the Pirates of the. Unfortunately, this was a Heard. Amber Heard.
Amber
Heard. I just thought it was so much action, and maybe I didn't take my little nap, but I was there and I was watching, and it was just action, big action, and I was like, what did I miss? Johnny Depp was the best part of the movie, but there was so much side action happening.
I fall asleep in Transformers.
Really?
Yeah, I do, because there's a lot of, like, you know, machine fight and all. And for me, my main reason to watch the show is Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I watched, and then okay I watched that. I was like, okay. But after that, when the machines start fighting, that's when I zone out, you know, and you were like, I mean, you are like sleeping with your eyes open in a way, you know, like, you know, like you're like, but your eyes are like open, you know that there's something happening, but your brain is not processing anything already. That is for me kind of like a good sleeping show. Maybe I should watch that before if I'm insomniac. Yeah, just
Aquaman. I didn't really want to see it. It was late. My chair was comfortable. And after the movie was supposed to end and it didn't end, I just relaxed and I took a few naps.
I take a good nap through Fast and the Furious 1 through 7.
Oh, that's a good night's sleep then.
That's a good night. I fell asleep in Doctor Strange the first time. I know. I think Saru's a big Doctor Strange fan, and I'm getting canceled now. I know. Yeah, I mean, I love the Marvel movies.
No, Sahruz is getting offended. Cancel Cop is not. No, you're not getting canceled.
Good.
That guy, yeah, he's getting offended.
But yeah, I mean, I love the Marvel movies. I just couldn't get into the solo Doctor Strange. I don't know. He didn't do it for me.
If you watch the other Marvel movies, they have this tone. Like if you see Guardians of the Galaxy, there's this element of fun, funny, color. And then you see Doctor Strange, especially the first 30 minutes, it's all dark, dull, serious. I'm like, is this in the same universe or series as Guardians of the Galaxy, which has a talking raccoon? I'm like, wow. But yeah, for me, a movie that I actually fell asleep in the theater was for The Arrival, Amy Adams' alien film. Like I was watching it, like wondering what's gonna happen. Is there going to be a thrill or something? And all I see is blobs of ink being thrown every time, and Amy Adams trying to decipher that. I was like, and when I woke up next, end credits, and I was with two of my friends, and they were like, "Bro, you really slept through this," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's boring."
For a movie in a specifically movie theater, I fell asleep while watching Godzilla vs. Kong. That was the worst movie I've ever seen. To this date, I always say to my friends, if you ever have, you can watch any movie in the world. You can watch any movie in the world, but do not watch Godzilla vs. Kong. Okay, I'm canceling that.
Canceling the movie.
Was the action boring? Was the character development?
You're talking character development for two CGI models with little to no emotion. And the action is not even fast as well. It's like
that's pretty good.
Said you get people around you who are smarter or at least have a different vision of filmmaking than just you, and you get along with them. And there was a gentleman who used to always sit in those meetings who had nothing to do with films. He was a construction company owner, had nothing to do with cinema. And he used to come and sit in the meetings. He's Aziz's friend, and he turned down and said, "I like to produce it." And we said, "But you make buildings." He said, "But you guys are so good. I love what you do. And I'd like to produce it." He said, "You lose money." He said, "It's all right to lose money on you." And I think it just came across to us, if there is someone who can lose money on us, let's try losing ourselves. And we said, okay, let's just go and make the films nobody else wants to make. So it kind of started off like that. But lately, yes, I think my production company takes care of, try to make a rider film. We keep it very simple, try and earn some money, and then actually make the films that nobody else wants to make, but you want to tell the story.
Brad, I think you will appreciate, and I'm hoping Shah Rukh will back me up here, that the Indian film industry is really a different kind of beast, in that it's one of the few cinemas that has succeeded in resisting the massive influence and the onslaught, if you like, of Hollywood. American movies do very well in India, but we have a very vibrant film industry, and the predominant film industry is the Indian movie industry. Shah Rukh, is there any fear of that changing?
I've said it for the last 10 years. If we don't hone up in a few areas, and I'd say it again, especially in script writing, screenplay, marketing, and professionalism, and technology. If these 5 areas, we don't quickly adapt ourselves to the way not only the studios, but indie filmmakers, small producers make films in Hollywood, we would get taken over by Hollywood. Because there's no denying the fact. They make some wonderful films. They have wonderful international stars. The language is becoming less and less of a barrier with even more digital platforms, the access to them, the comparison. is now right out there.
We just had a great experience producing a film, another Netflix film called Okja with Bong Joon-ho, the South Korean director. And it just became something we would never be able to create because it's from his mind. We're definitely seeking out more of those experiences.
I feel like I connect more to films that are not in my country, and just for different reasons. And the storytelling, I think Victoria mentioned something similar, which was watching Dark, which I've seen parts of. I haven't finished it, but it's just the way, it's a world that I didn't know exist, the way that the story is told, the characters are slightly off or different.
Shah Rukh Khan was saying that if the Indian film industry doesn't evolve or keep up with the script writing and screenplay, then Hollywood would start taking over. And we have seen like cases of where a big movie, Indian movie or Hindi movie, has been released alongside another Hollywood movie, and we have seen that Hollywood film doing better business than that Indian movie, and that Indian movie becoming a flop just because of maybe poor screenplay or poor acting. Especially if it's like a Marvel movie, then no Indian film, whether it's with a big star or with a newcomer, they wouldn't take their chance in releasing it at the same time because they know they're not going to stand the might of Avengers.
Make the film nobody wants, no one could make. I like that idea of films that I have never even thought of.
Shah Rukh Khan, his first breakthrough movie was a movie a lot of popular Bollywood actors rejected, and Shah Rukh Khan was a nobody back then when he got the script. It was a movie called Bazigar.
बाजीगर कहते हैं क्या कहते हैं बाजीगर गोरे गोरे का ये तीखी तीखी नजरें उसका बेटा जख्मी पड़ा.
I love that there's something that when I can see it, I know it's different, and it's opening my mind to a new culture that I'm not exposed to, and I can learn and enjoy something uniquely different. And so I pray Hollywood never tries to slide in on Bollywood, because I think that we have to really tell our stories authentically. And yes, you want to evolve with technology, but you don't want to evolve from what strictly is what makes you unique.
Say, like, other than Bollywood, we have regional films with each of these Hollywood in it. Like Tamil films will be Collywood, Telugu Tollywood, Malayalam Mollywood.
God. That's a multiverse.
In Pakistan, they have Bollywood, Lollywood. Yes. Sandalwood.
Sandalwood.
Oh, there's Dollywood for Dolly Parton. She stole that.
Dollywood. We can go with all the woods in the world.
There is one person who does not break his character. Like any movie he does, it's always that same character, and his name is Ryan Reynolds.
Date in time. Real Humphrey Bogart type stuff.
That is a very, very good point.
First time in my entire career I revealed a client's name. I trusted you.
You know what time it is? You know what time it is? You know what time it is? You know what time it is?
I'm about to do something terrible.
Same thing. Deadpool, Green Lantern, Adam Project, Free Guy, same. Ryan Reynolds.
Facts. He is Ryan Reynolds. Like, he's not Deadpool. That's just Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it's kind of like Robert Downey Jr.
I'm just gonna be me, and they're gonna hire me.
It's like 10 different genres there. There's a little Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that's definitely homosexuality.
Yeah, there's a love interest, a gay story, but it's not enough of a gay story. You now have to have these car crashes, karate, and
yeah.
Miorita. Timurire. Kushukin. Hotea. ช่วยกูด้วย 50,000
ห้ามใช้อุปกรณ์สื่อสารส่วนตัวกฎข้อที่ 3 คือบริการทุกคนห้ามมีเรื่องทะเลาะเบาะแว้งกันแต่กูอยู่ข้างมึง
It's enticing. It's definitely a sex sales movie, and I bought it. I love it. I want more.
This is a subplot, but it's like it's trying to normalize all of this. Instead of focusing on this, we are focusing on action, but this also exists. So I kind of like that stuff in movies or series, and I bought this movie. I'm waiting for it to come out.
They've gone past the era of like, it's okay, whatever you want to love, whoever you want. And so there's a whole genre that's coming out that's become a subgenre, and that's become like, let's take little pieces of that. I saw this one film or 13 series, and it was just about reincarnation. So in fact, these two people, I'm not telling too much of the plot, they were murdered, they came back, and they found each other in the reincarnation. Yeah, so it gets really intricate. It's like, how do you do that?
Oh, were they different genders, or the one was a different gender by any chance?
It was a gay story, so there was both.
Okay.
Yeah, so and
Very cool. Very
another
cool.
one is a ghost, and then he comes back, and then they're having ghost sex.
Wow. Awesome. And
I
they
mean, hope that
both
hope that they don't ghost him. Ghost him.
Ghosted. In a good way, yeah.
Those ghosts gonna be that sexy. I don't mind a ghost waking me up every now and then.
And it's interesting you said that, Victoria, because a lot of the fan base is just women looking for romance and see it within two very good-looking men. There's a huge women following for the gay films, and I'm talking about Thailand again. In Thailand,
Passion is passion. You know, it doesn't matter between who it is. It still is the same kind of interaction. So, hey, they did that.
But you know, I also enjoyed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon because of the scene between, it wasn't Chow Yun Fat, I don't remember now, but it was like she was also a detective and he was too. And I think they may have had a relationship, but it wasn't like the whole thing. And it wasn't like how Hollywood tends to do a sex scene. It was almost more of a relationship in it versus a sex scene. So that was interesting. And she was just as powerful as the men she was working with, but yet she remained true to her role as a woman and what her role was in society.
do you care about the planet? That's what I want to know. Are you emotionally available?
I am emotionally available, but the problem is the moment I start showing it, people run away.
Too much emotion. Slow down there, pup.
Ensure your values and vision with women or people are compatible. So important, even friendships. So many of us and myself have gotten into friendships and relationships that my values and visions for life were completely different than theirs. And it was hard. I had to either break up or I had to break up that friendship or relationship. Doesn't respect you, or if he doesn't respect you, let him or her go. Plain and simple. I think respect is one of the biggest things in life, but also too, you have to lead by respect if you're asking people to respect you. If you need each other, find your independence and passion, purpose, and happiness. If you need a partner for your happiness, independence, and purpose and passion, this is a big red flag. You have to find one of these within yourself first, or you have to be working through and finding one of these during this process. Number five is you have to open your heart and risk loss to know love. Ooh, I love this one. Here's what I have to say. So many of us go through heartbreak. It is okay sometimes to close our hearts because we are trying to work on ourselves or we're not ready. It is okay to not be ready. Myself, I haven't been ready before.
If you don't share your vow, I consider that if you're an awful person, that's my thing. It's like, oh, how much can I stand of awful people? I have people in my family that are awful. I'm like, oh, all right. I'll see you on holidays. Did anything jump out at you?
The word red flag.
I'm a walking red flag. I just been on real person dates recently, and it's sort of like, I just, they say be yourself. What if yourself is creepy? Just
That's
saying.
actually, yeah, that's actually true. Like,
Well,
imagine someone sorry, who thinks that, they're being caring, considerate, nice, but for society standards, they view them as sort of like not socially well tuned, or a little too overbearing, or just creepy, as you simply put it. So
I
I've
didn't
come
say
across.
you could say I'm creepy. I said I could say I'm creepy.
a lot of people say there's a lot of horror story with dating apps and all, but not really, not necessarily, because I do see happy couples coming out from that. Yeah, for me, I'm like I do try for a short while, but after that I lose interest in it because I don't really get much swipe to begin with, but I also not very active on the app. And I think I'm just not looking. That is what I feel. It's like a lot of people were like saying, oh, you're single, but a lot of my friends are single and desperate. So that will be another, if they were like, oh, I must be on every dating app. I must go for many dates outside. But for me, it's like, maybe I'm just not really that interested.
You always have to be yourself from the beginning. That's the core essential thing. If you don't be yourself, if you are always faking it, if you pretend you're Tom Cruise when you're in fact what do you say, when you're Danny DeVito, if you hide yourself under that image, then the expectations you have will always be higher. And if you are at this level, they'll see you as a failure. And that's why I believe most of the online dating fails at that aspect.
My worst date actually happened very recently.
Yeah,
My worst date ever. I had to spit them out. Sorry.
I hate it when you spit them out.
Yeah. My worst date actually stood up on me, never even show up. It's quite sad lah, because I kind of like him. Yeah. So it's actually a fellow colleague. So we are like, okay, let's meet up for coffee. And I live quite far away from where he is. So I'm like, okay, let me just take a drive there to where you are and then meet you for coffee lah. And then when I reached there at the coffee house, it's 3 p.m. and then he's like nowhere to be seen. So I waited for a couple of minutes and I texted him, hey, where are you? And he said, I just woke up, the kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm just woke up. But for me, from what I know lah, turns out when he's on the phone, turns out that he's high on weed lah. Yeah.
Oh.
So and then he never say anything after that. So we meet in the office and shortly he resigned. That's about it. It's like it's weird. Yeah.
Have you met him before?
Yeah, I mean we work together as well, and I'm quite fond of him because he is actually British Chinese, so it's like kind of like a mixed boy. Yeah. And in Malaysia, I don't know, I'm always a sucker for mixed people. Yeah. Yeah, and also or people with accents, with a Western accent and all. I'm always a sucker for this kind of people. So I even went to visit him in the hospital when he had a collapsed lung and all. But when we went to go for our first date, he stood up on me. I'm like,
So there's one rule when you go on a date, first date, is don't talk about your ex. During the middle of the date, he took a call from his ex and they had a whole conversation. And I was like, okay, this is over.
No.
So when I said before at the start of the topic that I have not really tried, I've been trying hard. So yeah, what I mean to say is it's kind of effortless for me. So I can ask someone out effortlessly and get rejected. So that's how it goes for me.
I remember that my mom used to tell me that yeah, you can date as long as they are same shade of yellow, like that means it can be like, okay lah, practically all the crazy rich Asian cast lah, like Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, Thai, Chinese and all, that one is fine. But anything different shade, don't like. White people don't like, brown people don't like, black people, anything that is not yellow don't like. It's very interesting, especially the Chinese people in Malaysia. So when somebody, because we have Indian in Malaysia, Chindians are very common, Chinese and Indian marry together. This is actually a thing in Malaysia and it's getting more. But the problem is a lot of people like, no, don't like, like, and then I kind of think that, no, you have to accept them because they are actually forming a whole generation of their own. I've known of a couple who is actually Chindian and Chindian together, married, and that is already in the 70s. It's like they are now in their 60s. Yeah. So I was like, hey, it's like you can get a generation of Chindian together. It's not a new thing. Even back then also it's already happening. And it's awesome, So that's why we are like, why we cannot have like interracial like relationship, like I don't understand why lah. Yeah.
Most of our experiences with love is from the love we've seen growing up, which is from our parents. So let's say in a straight relationship, I'm not talking about others, but since I'm straight, I'm talking from my experience. When you want to seek for a female, you tend to seek for women who are just as caring as your mother. So you try to see those same values in the partner you're looking for. Yeah.
Sigmund Freud said something similar where male child wants to have sex with his mom. Oedipus, yeah, that is true because they're looking for a replacement unless she was a bad mom. Then it's the reverse. She wants to be spanked by mom.
Found that I'm the closer, so I don't need closure because my closure comes from the doorknob.
I get a lot of swipes, but I don't get a lot of communication that I feel would last to something in the future. So it's all of these, don't give up, be optimistic. That's my mantra.
Better an oops than a what if. Better an oops than a what if.
Absolutely.
Instead of thinking about a what if scenario.
Fake it till you make it. That's my saying.
Yeah, that just goes against what Saharud was saying from the beginning. So clearly Henry has not learned the lesson from Saharud. He said, be authentic.
Be
and
yourself.
He said, fake it till you make it. Wow. Talk about.
Happy birthday, Henry. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the founder of International House of Comedy.